Good morning, guys. We are going to start chapter 15, lesson 2 today. And let's look at this pollution. So, you need to take your textbook out, and we are on page 546. This is chapter 15, lesson 2. Let's look at this picture. It says here, we're going to look at this blue box. Orange drink. Runoff from a mine turned the water in this stream orange. How do you think the runoff affects the organisms that live in the stream? Let's pause right here. If organisms are living in this stream and this stream looks the way it does in this picture, I believe organisms are going to be greatly affected. It's probably going to hurt them physically, and it's going to hurt what they eat or what they survive on because it is contaminated. How do you think this affects organisms that rely on this stream as a source of fresh water? Well, the water, it looks contaminated, so therefore it's going to affect them as well. It's going to harm the way they physically look as well. Let's look at the next slide. What is pollution? So all of us are familiar with this term pollution. Hang on one second. All right. It says, what happens when smoke gets into the air or toxic chemicals leak into the soil? Smoke is a mixture of gases and tiny particles that make breathing difficult, especially for people who have health problems. Toxic chemicals that leak into the soil can kill plants and soil organisms. The contamination of the environment with substances that are harmful to life are known as pollution. So when these toxics get into the ground, they can start to kill these plants and hurt these organisms that live there. That's considered pollution. In this picture, we're looking at an oil spill that had happened, and it's affecting these animals. Let's look at this. It says an example of pollution is in this picture. It says the oil-covered animals might not survive. Other wildlife also are affected negatively, including fish and people that rely on food. If an oil spill happens, it's going to affect the fish, all the wildlife that live in the ocean or in that water that the oil has contaminated. It's going to affect that what they can't. They're not going to be able to eat things. Fishermen are not going to be able to get those fish because they are contaminated. They have oil, so it really disrupts this aquatic system. Most pollution is caused by humans, but natural disasters also can cause pollution. We are the number one cause, though, of pollution. Air pollution. We are on page 548. Many large cities issue alerts about air quality when air pollution levels are high. On such days, people are asked to avoid activities that contribute to air pollution, such as driving cars, using gasoline-powered lawnmowers, or cooking on charcoal grills. So if you were to live in a big city such as like Chicago or Los Angeles, they may, if air pollution is high in that area, they would ask you not to, be driving your vehicle, not to be grilling outside on a charcoal grill, to avoid using things that require gasoline. It says air pollution can cause many health problems, especially breathing problems for people. Ozone loss. Ozone is a molecule composed of 3 oxygen atoms. The ozone layer in the upper atmosphere protects life on Earth by preventing most harmful ultraviolet UV radiation given off by the sun from reaching our planet. UV radiation from the sun can cause cancer and cataracts and can damage crops. In the 1980s, scientists warned the Earth's protective ozone layer was getting thinner. Air pollution from chemicals called CFCs used in refrigerants, air conditioners, and spray cans started to destroy the ozone layer. Governments around the world have phased out the use of CFCs and other ozone-depleting gases. As a result, the ozone layer is expected to recover within several decades. So photochemical smog, and in this picture, this is what we're looking at right here. This is above a large city called photochemical smog. Is a kind of air pollution that forms when sunlight reacts with waste gases from the burning of fossil fuels. So it mixes. Photochemical smog is when these vehicles that run on gasoline, and these big trucks that run on diesel fuel, it's burning fossil fuels here, and it reacts with the sunlight with these waste gases, and it forms this photochemical smog here. As shown in the picture, smog darkens the air and also can smell bad. It is formed of particles and gases that irritate the respiratory system. One of the gases in smog is ozone. In the upper atmosphere, ozone is helpful, but in the lower atmosphere, it is a pollutant. that can harm organisms and can cause lung damage. So when we have ozone that's in the lower atmosphere, this is where it's harmful to us. Global warming on page 549. The scientific observation that Earth's average surface temperature is increasing is called global warming. The possible effects of global warming include changes to ecosystems, increases in flooding and droughts, and the rise of sea level. The main cause of global warming is an increase in greenhouse gas, including carbon dioxide. This gas is released when people burn fossil fuels. Acid precipitation. So this is the effects of acid precipitation in this photo. Acid rain or snow that forms when waste gases from automobiles, so like in the previous picture when I was pointing out to you what these automobiles release, it combines with moisture in the air and is known as acid precipitation. Coal burning power plants produce sulfur dioxide gas that combines with moisture to form sulfur acid. The picture is an example of acidic precipitation, and it can damage forests. Water pollution. We're on page 550 now. Have you ever seen a stream, that's supposed to say, not a string, excuse me, typo. Have you ever seen a stream covered with a thick green algae? The stream might have been polluted with fertilizer from nearby lawns or farms. It might contain chemicals from nearby factories. Water pollution comes from many sources, including agriculture, industries, and people's homes. So we talked about an overgrowth of algae a few chapters ago, and how if an overgrowth of algae happens, it can take the nutrients out of the water, and it can kill these aquatic organisms, and ends up killing itself too, the algae itself, because it just overpopulates. Wastewater. So it says here, you might have been warned not to pour paint or use motor oil into a storm drain. So storm drains are like those things that when you're walking on the sidewalk or and you know some parking lots that that you're scared to drop your phone down into because you wouldn't be able to get your phone out. So that's a storm drain. That's where excess water goes. It says city storm drains often empty directly into local waterways. If people pour waste such as old paint or old motor oil into storm drains, water pollution can result. Cities have sewage treatment plants to purify wastewater draining from people's homes. Wastewater from industry and mines has pollutants. Some of these harmful substances may remain in the water after it has been treated, contributing to water pollution. So sometimes they send out water advisories to like boil your water if they notice something's wrong with it. And so you have to make sure you're up to date with that. Runoff and sediments. Water flowing over the land is called runoff, and we talked about that a few chapters ago when we were talking about the water cycle. It can pick up many different pollutants, including pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers, and oil from the road. So this runoff that's running all into one general location. Runoff carries these pollutants into streams where they can harm insect, fish, and other organisms. Runoff also carries sediment particles into streams. Too much sediment can damage stream habitats, clogging waterways and cause flooding. Land pollution. We're on page 551. This is the last page. Litter is one form of land pollution. Aside from littering, people cause land pollution through farming, industrial practice, and mining. So there's one thing that we can definitely prevent, and that is us littering. I cannot stand to see people going down the road and throwing out trash out the window. Don't be that person. That is just, that's uncalled for. So I'm going to, at this point, insert the secret word for this video. So if you're watching this video, the secret word is yellow. So send me an email and put in secret word lesson 2 is yellow. Don't tell your classmates. I will find out who is watching this video and who is not watching this video. Thank you guys. So let's continue on. Agriculture. This is still continuing talking about land pollution. Farmers use pesticides and other agriculture chemicals to help plants grow, but these chemicals become pollutants if they are used in excess or disposed of improperly. Herbicides kill weeds, but if they flow into a stream, they can kill algae and plants and harm fish and amphibians. So probably some of you have seen your granddads or your dads using herbicides to kill the weeds around your house. or maybe some of your family farms. And if it's not disposed of properly, or if too much is used, it can get into the ground, or it can get into the runoff, and then it can cause more damage to those aquatic organisms. The farming practices of irrigation cause salt to build up in the soil, which is very harmful form of land pollution. And so here's a picture of that over here. Industry and mining. Many industrial facilities, including oil refineries and ore processors, produce toxic waste. For example, coal ash sludge is produced when coal is burned in a power plant. The sludge contains mercury, lead, arsenic, and other potentially harmful metals. Many industries and mines produce toxic waste. Improper storage of these wastes can contaminate land and water and can damage and destroy entire ecosystems. So that is all of lesson 2. Thanks, guys, for listening. Please email me your word and have a good day.